Okay, so as we get started, already another call to action in addition to the videos. There's no men on the CISPE Women in Cloud Task Force, so gentlemen, please step up. And I'm coming to this work with CISPE on diversity, having worked quite a bit on IP diversity, on intellectual property diversity, working with women inventors. And talking with some of you and with our panelists today, I've been really struck by some of the parallels between IP diversity and diversity issues in the cloud. And I'll mention them briefly because I have a feeling there'll be topics we'll touch on today. One is the importance of data collection and analysis. You can't change what you don't measure, right? So we really need to emphasize data collection to really get a handle on the problem so we can develop solutions for it. The second one is training and skills building. And speaking with some of you, I've realized that it's not just about training and getting the job, it's also about being accompanied in the job, once the women are in the career, their career progression. And the third one is having examples. So senior women in leadership positions in the cloud sector, so younger women professionals, see somebody who looks like them, right? They can aspire to be like that person. Looking at the statistics in preparation for this panel, I was a little bit discouraged. The participation of women in the cloud sector is the lowest among all the IT sectors, at 14% instead of 20% broadly in the IT sector. And Alexandra Paul from DG Connect is going to tell us a little bit more about the state of play in the sector in Europe, give us some statistics, and explain some of the challenges we're facing. So, Alex.
So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, as it was mentioned just now, we are here to discuss a bit about the state of women in digital and in particular in the cloud sector today. So, as it was already mentioned, the situation of women in ICT is not the best one in Europe, but either worldwide. And so to start with, I would like to give you some few pointers on where we are in terms of data point on the participation of women in the ICT sector and in cloud in particular, before we have a nice discussion with my fellow panelists here. So to start with, the women represent 50% of the EU population. But yet, as it was said, there are still only 1 in 5 of the workers in the ICT sector in Europe, according to our Eurostat data in 2023. And their participation into this sector, into the ICT sector, is characterized by 3 main features. One of them is a digital skills gap, the other one a gender gap, and also a fragmentation among member states. So indeed, women with digital skills in Europe, there are only 1 in 2 women that have digital skills. It is also only 1 in 2 women that have software skills. And when it comes to advanced digital skills, it is only 1 in 3 that have these skills. And it's also only 1 in 3 that have graduated from a STEAM background, science, technology, engineering, or mathematical one in the European Union. And it's also only 1 in 5 women that is an ICT entrepreneur. And to close this first setting, it is also about 93% of the capital that has been invested in Europe has been in male-founded companies. So that's to start with, to give the first features about the digital divide and the digital skills gap for women into the ICT sector in Europe. But also, indeed, so this also drags a second issue, that is a gender gap. In average, in Europe, we have, again, women that are paid, in average, 19% less than men for the same type of work with the same type of qualification. But also what we can see that is quite striking is that when you compare across the European Union, across the different member states, you can see that in some member states, it's not 1 in 2 women that has basic digital skills or digital or software skills, but it's rather 1 in 3. And when it comes to advanced skills, it's not any longer 1 in 3, but it's 1 in 10. On the other side of the spectrum, we have some best in class that there, indeed, they can see that women with basic digital skills in their country represent, is 8 women in 10. And with advanced digital skills, it's 6 in 10, so much better than the average, the double. But yet, the situation shows that across Europe, women are, in general, in average, less represented into the ICT sector, but with also very big differences across the different member states. When it comes now to the cloud sector, the situation is not really better. It's even worse, as it was already said. So it's not any longer 1 woman in 5 into the ICT sector, as it was. It is in the cloud sector, 1 in 7. So around 14% only of women into the cloud sector worldwide. And this, in this sector, what it tells us as well is that over the 5 last year, the presence of women into the cloud sector has been stagnant. We have only seen an increase of around 0.2 point percentage over 5 years. While at the same time, we have seen the cloud uptake, so companies using more and more the cloud, with an increase in average of 6% of percentage over the 5 last years. So what does that mean in concrete for women? It means that any new job that are created in the cloud sector are actually not taken by a woman, but still by a man, as their participation into the cloud sector has remained almost constant. So the innovation power of women to grasp a new job in a sector that is dynamic like cloud is not being and is untapped. The second thing that we can see that is very clear and is particular to the cloud sector is to see that actually women also manage less well their career than men. What we can see is that actually, in general, a woman in a leadership position in the cloud sector represents less than 25% of the leader in that sector. So less than 1 woman in 4 have a leadership position in the cloud sector. But it's also not only this, is that compared to other sectors, for instance, in businesses, in e-commerce, in marketing, a woman in 2 has a leadership position. So you can see the big discrepancy with the cloud sector. And finally, to conclude this part on some of the data points that characterize also the cloud market, it is that we also witness the presence of a cloud shift job gap. And this gap means that at equal qualification, a woman and a man with the same level of experience, when a woman wants to get to her next job with more responsibility, she will have twice less chance than a man to get the position. And that is something that is characteristic of the cloud market, specifically compared to the rest of the ICT sector. So why should we care about that? Is that important to have women into the ICT sector or even in the cloud sector? Is that something that we need to address? Well, research says to us that diversity in teams lead to better and more efficient outcomes. And also that actually nowadays on the cloud market in Europe, we have 1 in 2 SMEs that when they are looking for a digital profile into the labor market, they don't find the right skills and the right profile that they want. And SMEs represent 99% of our industrial bases in Europe. But it's also 62% of the large company that when they are looking for equally a digital profile into the labor market, they don't find it. So what does it mean? It means that if we don't try to address the issue, we are going to also miss an economic opportunity for Europe, because we are a real structural mismatch between demand and supply in the labor markets, in digital and in cloud in general. So what can we do? What do we have in our toolbox, if I can say, to try to reverse the trends? At European level, in the past years, very recent years, and I'm going only to focus on the most recent initiative and linked to the digital sector, we have been starting to think a bit about the issue. And what I can see is that we have 3 types of levers that could be used to try to reverse the trend, to help. So one of them is indeed the importance to set up common goals and common targets at European level. And this is in particular due to the fragmentation I was mentioning to you between member states about the status and the roles and the presence in the workforce of women that they are qualified in digital and in the cloud sector. So very recently, we have launched the Digital Decade Path Program to 2030. That is actually the European program for the digital transformation for the next decade, in which we have set different common targets. And when I say common target, they are targets that they are co-created between the Commission with the member states and the businesses together. And in this target, we have 3 specific targets that will help us to have a common vision. And in this case, they are going to be, in particular, the one related to basic skills, to equip the population in Europe by 2030, 80% of it to have basic skills compared to today, but also to have more than 20 million of ICT specialists into Europe by 2030, paying attention to the gender gap. And this is mentioned into the target. And this is really important because this is to be done by all member states together by 2030. And of course, we also have a goal that is related to the cloud, in which by 2030, we should have more than 75% of businesses in Europe using advanced cloud services. So between these businesses, of course, part of the workforce will be women, and so they will have to be also equipped with the right and more advanced digital skills. Our second lever are about trying to incentivize reforms and investments into the member states. And this has been done actually by what we call the Recovery and Resilience Facility, a program that has invested massively into digital skills, including for women, but also in cloudification of businesses and public administration. And finally, the last pillar that we have is to try at European level to support the phrasing of public-private partnership together to be able to advance this initiative. And we have a specific private-public partnership that could be a frame related to digital skills. So that could be one of the avenues to go forward. I am happy to discuss more about that with my panelists, and I thank you very much.
Alexandra has made a strong case for action, including by CISPE members, to improve diversity in the cloud. Thanks very much for that. And we'll go back to your second slide later to look for where the opportunities really are for public-private partnership in particular. Before asking Jacqueline a question, I first wanted to thank you, Jacqueline van der Werken from Leaseweb, for your leadership with Veronique Corduan, also from AWS, for really getting this at the forefront of CISPE's work. Much appreciation to both of you. So taking this down to the organization level, looking at the company, your company, does what you've heard reflect the state of play inside of Leaseweb? What are your percentages? And especially, what's the experience of women in leadership, their career progression, et cetera?
Yeah, so thanks so much, Alexandra. And for all the good reasons, of course, CISPE started Women in Cloud also to be focusing on it. We are a young group of companies, and my daughter is 18. I don't want her and her girlfriends to look up to the sky and be online and do not the background of data centers and cloud and how our technology is really working out. So I want the awareness to be part of young women's awareness. But for Leaseweb, I think we are less, just like Alexandra was telling, than compared to like telecoms or datacom, or where there's more marketable products and services. And we are happy because we have a sort of measurement of 30% participation of women, but that's merely because we have very international ladies coming to us to join us. We reach out to everywhere globally, because we are looking for job filling positions that we cannot find in Europe. So I think our experience is that we have women in cloud in our business even more from outside of Europe than from inside Europe, and yeah, they seem to have a little bit different choice in their education or in their career or in their future. So actually we are happy with the 30%, but by far it's not 50 or equal. And in senior leadership, it's only 1% really. So we are blessed with a women CTO, Svenja. And well, I'm here also, but it's just not only the business, but it's also the awareness. We live in a digital society, right? Everything we do is online. And the intuition, the production, the innovation, I think women should be part of that. And I think it would contribute our sort of digital awareness, where it's all starting in technology and what's benefiting us. So therefore, I think we are happy that CISPE made this group. We are on the website, And I will tell more about it when we have the next slide.
Okay.
Yeah, to advertise this topic.
Thank you. Anna Kloft.
Yeah.
Slightly different perspective, looking at data centers. Is this the same kind of feeling you have, like listening to Alex's statistics? Did you say, yeah, this resonates? This is probably the same in my sector as well?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you very much for inviting me on this very short notice. I don't have any numbers prepared, but I can just give you an overview how I feel for Germany at least, and also for my responsibility when I'm working at CISPE on the European level. So I see in Germany, I wouldn't say that I'm the only woman in data centers, but kind of. Maybe there are 2 or 3 more. So I mean on the senior level, right? So we have a lot of women in the data center you just mentioned, and so there are maybe also 30%. I don't know, but they are typically in positions like head of HR, head of marketing, head of sustainability. So everything like that. But I mean, like, where are the managing directors, CTOs? So women like that, so they are missing, right? And I feel I understand why, of course, because it's not that simple to survive there. But when you look into the European market, I saw in the past other countries who are having much more women in data centers, so like France or the Nordics. And I don't know why it is like that. Of course, maybe of the different culture, I don't know, but I feel like also French women are much more stronger, feels like. And in the Nordics, they have a different work-life balance as well. Right, so in the Nordics, they're starting at 9 o'clock in the morning, ending at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they're going to their children, and everything is fine. They can survive on this high level. In Germany, we can't survive like that. We are working 24 hours. So, so we can, of course, but you need also some backup at home as well, right? So this is my opinion on that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm speaking with people and looking at the studies. A lot of these fuzzy issues around work-life balance, not seeing yourself as a cloud tech person, et cetera. Some of these softer issues also really need attention. So thank you for raising that. Ibrahim, founder of MolenGeek, leader in addressing diversity in IT in a different way. So looking at socioeconomic status and underrepresentation in IT. Can you tell us a little bit about MolenGeek and what you've learned, from the training programs you've set up, especially about the need to not just train, but help people to get the job and then accompany them once they're in the job market?
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for,
Sure.
first of all, for the invitation. And my apologize because this is just a problem of the agenda is why I'm a little bit late. But yeah, MolenGeek is a tech ecosystem, and our mission is to make accessible technology for all, and especially for minorities. So minorities is women, but also people from different ethnic, and to make really try to activate talent from some area, poor area, disadvantaged area. And the goal is to create a process where people can project himself in the IT career. We have 85% of success after 6 months after our training. So 85% of people find a job or create their job or find another training in the tech world. After the 6 months, this is 100%. But what we do in MolenGeek is really we try to create the condition where people can start to believe in himself, because people, when they left school, they start a vicious circle, if I can say this like that in English. So they fail at school, they fail in their professional life, they fail in the social life because they don't have money for go out with friends. So they stay in their room playing video games. So they fail a little bit also the family life. And this kind of people, they don't want to start something because they don't want to fail again. They don't want to be disappointed about themselves. So it's why it's really important to create a safe space where people, they can come, learn, develop their skills without judgment, without classment, and with a real cooperation. cooperation at school is not admit. You know, at school you work just for you, but in the company you collaborate and you have a lot of cooperation. And then in MolenGeek, the side effect of MolenGeek is we have 48% of women in our students because they feel safe, they feel comfortable. Attract women is one point, but to create the right ecosystem, inclusive ecosystem, is the most important things also. And we believe in MolenGeek we cannot create an inclusive ecosystem without educate men. So it's why the mixity is very important for us. We're working also in our communication to have some subliminal communication for women. So when we're talking about, we have some training, Amazon Web Services training, and this is all time a woman present this training. So for a guy, just a training. For a woman, a woman present the training. So maybe this is also for us. So they come more. And in our communication is very important. In our role model is very important. Our teacher, our best teacher in coding and cybersecurity is Alex, and she's a woman. And it's really important for women to have a role model, but also for men to have a woman. They teach them the cybersecurity or coding or cloud. It's very important to educate them.
Thank you for that. You've touched on so many different themes. Several of you have touched on culture of an organization and the importance of having this inclusive culture and also the role models. Jacqueline, at Leaseweb, what's been done to create this culture of inclusiveness and make women really feel like they can thrive and succeed?
Yeah, it's very delicate because we all strive for the participation, but it's also important that you don't target too much, because young women, they don't like to be targeted like, oh, we are a separate group, or hey, we are in a special team and we need to be addressed for a special program. There's a big need for integration, but not only targeting the women. So, integration, like you say, is really important to address maybe communication, expectations, but do it all together and don't separate the young women, because I think there are, in our experience, that is counterproductive. And it's actually just like in any other business. It's more that in cloud, it's data centers, it's cabling, it's provisioning, it's really sort of hardware type of industry sector. That it needs to get more publicity. I think therefore also Women in Cloud of CISPE, and that we are here. It will be on LinkedIn. Women will read it. And so what Leaseweb is doing, we have several websites where we publish activities. And actually the most successful way forward is just simply do tasks together, working groups, activities together, because you get to know each other better. You get to know male and female dynamics together. And that is much more relaxed than labeling it as a sort of women in cloud topic. So it's a delicate line, really, to have success.
Yeah, what you've said also reminds me of Ibrahim's point that we need also men leading this, men being involved, not just female role models.
That's normal on the work floor,
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so not targeting women as a separate group, making sure you've got kind of these inclusive working groups, give people a chance to work together. And then, Anna, I was going to ask, are there any best practices that you've seen for creating this inclusive environment, something you see that's working at the organization level?
Let me think. So I saw in Germany, I saw on a political level, I don't know if you're aware of, but we have, we've created a law, like always, like a regulation. So we have, again, a law for women. So if you have in a company like I don't know, the name is like on the stock market, like DAX listed company. Yeah. So one of the 3 board members must be a woman, right? So what's happening now in the market, and from this point of view, every man is afraid of women. Because now they are complaining, the men are complaining now to me, saying like, I don't get any jobs yet. So the supervisory board, for example, so they like to, when they're getting older, they go on a supervisory board and get some money there and sitting there and are very important people. And now they don't get a job there because the women are taking it away. And now they're starting to complain. This is really funny. So this is just a political level. So what I see, what's the best practice, and I've practiced it a lot in my company now, and also before I joined this company and even the German Data Center Association. I think it's a mentoring thing. It's I feel like mentoring is the most important thing wherever you are, and I'm not saying that you need to be mentored by a woman or by a man. It doesn't matter, because it's just a friend. You need a friend on your side, like my best word of today is a sparring partner. Nobody likes it, but it's kind of where you can discuss those kind of topics, right? What your concerns are. And I had in my life two mentors, and they were really in different. So I would say in different lives. One was like, how do I behave everywhere? If I am in a senior leadership, how do I behave in front of everybody? Because a woman doesn't know that from this very beginning. She doesn't know, because she's never in these companies, right? So companies with men or with women, whatever. So you need to know how I'm acting. Like I don't know. Even if I'm going to a restaurant, just a simple, simple behavior in a restaurant, simple behavior wherever you are, in the event, whatever. How much can you talk or not talk? Yeah. So simple things like that. And on the other hand, I was really mentored by a good man who was showing me also how to act in front of men. I mean, like, what would you do if you were a man right now? So what would a man do in your position right now? So he was treating me, so they were explaining to me the situation, and so the thinking of a man, which are really, really needed, because otherwise you're not surviving in this world. You need sometimes to step back a little bit and then to rethink your decision, because women, we know this is a culture thing of a woman as well. We are very emotional. We want to scream at you, whatever. So, but we need sometimes to just think and come back to you the next morning. Yeah, you're smiling now.
So again, culture. So how to project executive presence, right, as a woman, like some of those tips. One thing, but going back to the role model issue, one thing we thought could be useful is we're going to be collecting names afterwards of women experts in cloud to add to this new project called the Brussels Binder, which creates a list of speakers for public events, and we'd like to populate that binder with women, specifically in the cloud sector. So we'd love to have you on our roster. So if you'd like to be part of that, let us know, and we'll add you to that. So Alexandra, I wanted to come back to you for a second and look at your slide. If we want to do some type of, or look at public-private partnership, right? CISPE is very well positioned to consider that, but what are the opportunities? So where's the money, and what can we learn from the public-private initiatives that you had on your slide? And do these have a gender lens, I think, most importantly?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so on the public-private partnership, so there is indeed several things that has been happening at European level. So on one side, what you see here on the yellow box, what we call the Recovery Resilience Facility investment here, that is a facility of 650 billion euros that was set up since 21 after the COVID crisis, that goes until 27. There were there about 22 billion, it's 25 billion, that has been put forward for program on digital skills to be developed across Europe and across member states. In this initiative, the member states had the latitude to provide some programs actually for digital skills to women, to entrepreneurs, for vulnerable people as well, in partnership with private companies. So, for instance, there is an interesting program from Spain that was put forward by the government with the private entities as well, that was to look at women in SMEs, in startups, that were going to be upskilled, if we can say, on digital skills, and also be put in higher position into the company to be then being working as the catalyst to provide further reform and further digital transformation of their companies. So they were a bit a double role, right? On one side to be advanced as a role model and be upskilled, and at the same time being used, if I can say, as catalyst to reform and to digital further their companies. The second thing that is also interesting that you see here, for instance, that is the digital skills and job platforms, is a new platform that was coming from the digital, that is one of our European programs, because on the 2 last year, we have put forward 600 million euros actually for digital skills, in which actually the platform of public and private company as well, in which it gather actually mentoring that you were mentioning before, training, different also career advice provided all across the different countries in Europe, all put together on specific technology, going from cloud to AI to HPC, for instance, to cybersecurity. So this has been a program that has been starting to run and that is quite successful because it's accessible to all citizens, of course, including to women. And maybe a third one that I would like to quickly mention as well that is interesting, again, maybe from the other perspective on more digital skills. It is actually now the preparation of new type of curricula, master degrees in Europe that will combine skills on AI, cloud, and big data for having advanced digital skills provided not only, let's say, to students, but also to any professional that wants to be part of that program on practical skills that they need to work in enterprises. And this will also be done either in part-time way or in full-time. Of course, if you work, you do the part-time one, with the objective to train more than 1,000 different students, if we can call them like this, to these advanced skills. And this is really an initiative that is done among more than 10 different member states with public and private companies involved and also training bodies there.
Okay, thanks. So there's a lot of money, first of all, and a lot of these have a gender lens. That's good news. Ibrahim, going back to you, just some very practical questions about learning from your work. Can you tell us a little bit about, how do you get started creating a successful training program? Like, who has to be in the room? Do you need the employers there, multiple stakeholders? Do you need a lot of money? Like, what can you give us in terms of insights?
Our mission is to make accessible this kind of technology. So there is a lot of program already exists. But what we do, our secret is we, for our program accessible, we put the best teacher for to do this is a teacher without digital skills of this technology. They start to learn this program, they start to write it in an accessible way. Mm-hmm. And we put another teacher to start to learn with this new content. And when we do this, we are sure it's really accessible, the content. So what we do first is, of course, we collaborate with the market for to understand and for to know what kind of technology and skills they need. Because we don't want to train just for to train. I think this is not really the goal about us, because what we want to do is to really push people in the professional activities in the world of the technology. And when we target some kind of technology with a lot of demand from the market, we're working on this technology to create a new program really accessible. So a program really accessible. Our methodology is collaborative, it's learning by doing. It's also a lot of exercise, but this is also a lot of metaphor, really to explain to people what is the cloud. It's not easy when you don't have the tech background. So you need really to introduce this pedagogy in this program for really to have people without academic background or tech background, they can learn and to be Amazon Web Services certificate, and this is really important, really, to be sure to have no barrier in your content of training.
So I have two follow-on questions based on what you're saying. So first, do you need a technical background to participate in your training programs?
No.
None?
No.
Okay, so I could do it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the second question is, do you have a certification program for your training?
Yeah, we have different kind of training, and some of this training, this is with certification. So we have Amazon Web Services with certification of Amazon. We have also a training program of cybersecurity with Microsoft certification. We have another one with Salesforce, VMware certification. So this is really a large panel of training with certification. The big difference with our training without and with certification is the harassment of headhunter on LinkedIn. So when you so when you have a certification of this kind of Amazon, of Microsoft, all the headhunter of your LinkedIn call you, text you, send you email just for we have a job for you. You know,
It's not a bad problem to have. Really. Okay, so Jacqueline, I wanted to go back to you. In my notes, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about what CISPE has been doing, since you were introducing that in the beginning. And one thing that we had discussed before is that you'd done some data collection to get a handle on the situation in CISPE members with gender parity. Could you present to us some of the information that resulted from the survey and tell us about that work?
Yeah, I will stand up. Yeah, we were convinced to spend time and effort on women in cloud. Also to demonstrate on, everywhere we go, to panels, to audiences, regulatory work, that women in cloud is important. And if you Google, or if you go online, you see that there's many initiatives already, also in IT. So it's not that we are exclusive and very different, but typically in cloud, really talking about IaaS or data center environment, it was still hard to find. And also, we had experiences that we were invited to come over and talk in panels that said, no, you have to bring a lady. I mean, you have to be sort of male-female balanced, and otherwise we don't, you should take this into account. You should be serious about this. So I think 2 years ago we started the initiative to have on our website and in our internal board of CISPE, Women in Cloud as a working group. And, it's just step by step, I think, but we did undertake some good actions so far. We had a survey done with our members just to know what is our point zero, where do we stand now, and what are we really talking about in terms of percentage in women participation. So, and I was really happy to, and you see it on the slide, we did many activities, but the survey was one of them. Not all members have participated, but quite many, and we were very happy to find that we also, like Leaseweb, we reached the 30% of women participation, and that feels good. It's like I say, it's not equal 50-50, but at least it's not too disappointing. So we felt also that we had a reason to be here, and that we didn't have a sort of difficult case. No, it's just time to spend more time and effort on this topic. And also we spend time on a mission statement, like how can we achieve more integration and more participation of women in our type of industry, in our sector. So this mission statement includes a few things, also training, like we just were discussing. And the problem right now in training is that most technical universities have typical master degrees that develop certificates or master degrees in that area. So it's really focused now on technical universities, whereas what we need is just business programs focused on cloud. And of course, in SaaS, or like the licensing or the software industry, it has been developed earlier. It's, I think, a much more balanced situation. But for our type of industry, I think what we need to do better is offer trainings, like you just told also Alexandra and you, Ibrahim, that it should be done that it's not only the technical university where our type of skills are trained. It should be like any business administration program where we can learn this. And I'm sure that the participation will be much broader then. So in our mission statement, we spend time on that. And also the mentorship. We were trying to set up a mentorship from CISPE. We have 28 members, so we should be able to develop a program that resonates to women, older women, younger women, to participate in our industry. So this mission statement is also on our website. We will develop step by step the Women in Cloud initiative to undertake more initiatives. And last year we also had a roundtable on the 8th of March. That's International Women Day. And we just share initiatives and share ideas with representatives of the European Commission, and we had a parliamentarian. Also, Alexandra was there for the first time, so super happy that you're back. So I think it's just step by step, making publicity, making known that we are in this sector and that we are in high demand of women participation. We have many jobs to fill, like technical engineers, program developers, data center staff. So I hope this contributes to that purpose and also for the good cause of women in cloud. And like what I say earlier, I think the awareness of cloud, not looking up to the sky, hey, where's my data? But no, it's in a data center, it's going through cables, it's going under the sea. Be aware of what you are doing online. I think that's really crucial for women to participate in for new innovation. Let's see, is there anything else? I think it's just a matter of time, to be honest, because we see in the software world, it's quite common to be completely balanced. So positive to move forward.
Was there anything that came back in the survey that surprised you or caught you off guard?
Well, it's typically the classic topics like work-life balance, but I think that is important for any sector, right? So let's not focus there too much. I mean, we are not different than any other sector, although, of course, in the data centers, we have 24/7 shifts. So, but also that, that's also in healthcare and also in any other sector could be a problem. So I think we just need to see what's out there in the marketplace, also participate in other initiatives. There's a lot going on. We can be active also in other Women in Cloud or other Women in IT initiatives and learn from them. So this is just only the beginning.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for presenting this. It's really interesting. So you mentioned teaching about the cloud in business programs. I want to flip that on its head and ask Ibrahim, you said that some of the graduates of your training program create their own jobs. They become entrepreneur. Are you teaching business skills as part of your training?
Yeah, this is, we try really to give them some soft skill. The first of all is we train them to learn by himself first, because they need to stay updated. And we try to also to explain them what is the market, what is a product, what is a client and customer, and try really to explain how you can. We have also an incubator in MolenGeek, and the goal is to follow this new talent to help them to start a real business. So. Yeah, we help them. That depend really of the need and the situation, and we give them the right advice or the right workshops. But for us, because we're working with several minorities, we know already the market of work is not ready to receive all these minorities. So it's why entrepreneurship, this is really for us a way of a second chance, I want to say, to have your professional activities. Mm-hmm. And if you target people without academic background, so entrepreneurship, people, they don't look about your CV with you sell a product, you look about your products and your services. So this is a little bit my background, my experience. I have really more opportunities like freelancer or with my companies than with my CV, because my CV is empty.
And you're an investor now as well, in addition to having the incubator.
Yeah.
So what message would you have for the CISPE companies and other companies in the room from this sector? What advice would you have in terms of improving diversity and getting in there with training and mentorship?
Don't be afraid to move the line, I want to say. You need to move the line every day, every morning. And don't be afraid to propose things to your manager or to your company or to your boss. If you're afraid about this, we cannot change the rule, So now this is your turn to move the line. So, yeah.
I've heard over the course of the day a lot of enthusiasm, actually, positively, I have to say, from the participants about CISPE doing something in this area, whether public-private collaboration, mentorship program, speaking, and public awareness raising. Do we have a show of hands of people who might be willing to work with CISPE on these kinds of programs? We could meet in the cocktail and do some work. I'm looking, because I'm going to target you after. Okay. So I wanted to give one last chance to all of the speakers before asking Jacqueline to wrap up. Just some closing thoughts about especially the opportunities, right? Like looking ahead, Alexandra, you've really done a great job, thank you, of mapping out the opportunities, the funding, some of what can be done. What would you say we should be emphasizing in this discussion going forward?
Thank you. So maybe 3 things very quickly. One of them is indeed, I think we need to remember that the issue we are trying to solve here is multi-sided. So this means that we will have to think very carefully in the way how we want to basically address this multi-sided issue. So we need to have kind of an incremental approach to try to target each of the issue to be able to try to solve it, basically. And for that, I would like to say that it would be important that if once we have decided which issue we are going to tackle first, we ensure that we are able to collect data, continue to collect data. This is a great job that was done by CISPE already to start with this survey and to see how we can populate that, because we need more granular data. We need to really understand the issue we are trying to solve and be able to measure it. And I think this is critical because it's an area in which, even in the cloud, we still need more robust data. And for that, we also need the participation, of course, of companies to be able to also provide the right data on the women participation, on the type of program, the type of training that they are done at the moment. So this is absolutely crucial that we work on that. And to do that, that's why I'm saying we need the participation of company as well. So basically, we need to do something together. So it means the public and the private sector. So, and this is about partnership. And I think when I look at the opportunity showing before, it is indeed the moment to have partnership that can be framed into this regard, also with the member states, that can also support you as ecosystem of company in your countries as well, but do something together via public-private partnership, because this is an issue that can be only solved together. It's not one single actor that can do that.
Thanks. Anna, what would you say?
I see it quite similar. So first of all, Jacqueline, I'm very impressed. So this one is really good, what you did with CISPE. So we should have done it as well at the German Data Center Association. I think also like what you just mentioned, I think there must be a lot of more partnerships on that because like you're saying, Jacqueline, you have how many members? 23 members, right?
Yeah, 8.
So, yeah, but I mean, like, it's not that huge, and we need more, right? So we need. It's not only about the cloud; it's about also digitalization. It's about data centers, about everything around that. And I'm aware of that there are a lot of women networking. So I heard about this. Masons, whatever women in, whatever it is, women in data centers. So there are a lot of women in something network. But I think we need something which is more aligned. I think. And the second part is I think we also need to start educate people from the very beginning. So also what you just mentioned, starting at the university already. And so we were thinking in our association about starting with education for all of young people, of course, but I mean maybe we need also to figure out how we do, especially just for women, because they will not go there. If not even men going there, why should women go there into this industry, right? So maybe they are a little bit under pressure. They don't understand it. I don't know, but this is quite simple. So we are here, so it can't be that difficult, really. So this is my opinion on that. Yeah. So we need to create more networking on that.
Okay, thanks. And Ibrahim, opportunities here specifically for improving gender parity in the cloud and in IT. What are your thoughts? In a nutshell.
Yeah, for me, the most important thing is really to bet to people and on women for to believe in they are capable to do the job. And for the balanced life, I think we can adapt. the job for people. I think, for example, I am here with you and I need to take my kids just in 10 minutes after. So the balanced life is for me also. So if I can adapt my work planning, I won't say that the woman also can adapt the work planning. This is not a really, I think we need to adapt. If we can adapt things for everyone, for parents, for women, for minorities, we can work together. If we take just one rule and say, hey, it's the same for everybody, we are not the same, guys. So we need to adapt ourselves. Some people have responsibilities, some people have children, some people have another life. So it's important if you want to enjoy the talent, the opportunity to work with this person, to adapt your company to welcome all the diversity we have in our beautiful country. So it's really, really important to adapt the companies and the work for everyone. And this is not shy to adapt things. It's just to be realistic and to be inclusive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, going back to this notion of we need to create this inclusive culture, you know, make sure we're responding to everybody's needs to include them. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Thanks for bearing with us. I know we stand between you and the closing remarks and then the cocktail. So, Jacqueline, would you like to give us your closing thoughts and then we'll wrap up?
Yeah, to be honest, so we had Gaia X also here today. I tried it also in the Industrial Alliance of Cloud and Edge, but maybe we can also touch base with Gaia X to make a sort of chapter to also include this in the program, because it benefits. And like you say, by law, it's only really high level. It's supervisory board and it's board of directors and for listed companies. So that does not really solve the matter, right? And for economic, also the programs that you demonstrated, there's a high focus, but in our sector, like cloud, SME, we need to make it happen. So I think if we put more sort of focus in Gaia X or other programs that we can think of or that we bump into, from bottom up, I think then we can roll over and deploy more and more this topic. And yeah, it's just good for our business and our economy and also to be together.
And it's the right thing to do, right? To give
So
these
it's
people
more
the
fun
same
also.
opportunities.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much to our panelists. And thanks. Please join me in a round of applause.